I love to watch the Olympics. Every 4 years, or in this case, 5 years, we have the Summer Olympics. And not only does it bring amazing competition and feats of athletic endeavors, but of course, wonderful stories and people who overcome challenges and superstars and brands. The Olympics, of course, is a branding powerhouse in terms of the value of the Olympic rings and the partnerships who advertise in association with the Olympics that you'll be watching on TV probably with me these next couple of weeks. One of the most intriguing events in the Olympics is the decathlon, at least from my perspective. And the decathlon, of course, was created to try to measure the most well-rounded athletes because it's not just one event, one competition. It's the total of 10 events. And in case you're not that familiar with it, it's the 100 meters, the long jump, the shot put, the high jump, the 400 meters, the 110-meter hurdles, the 1,500 meters, which is about a mile, the pole vault, the javelin, and the discus throw. So someone who's amazing at two or three of these, but really fails at two or three others, doesn't stand a chance to win the decathlon. You have to be excellent at all of them. And you could, of course, win the decathlon without winning any one of the events. So I find it, fascinating endeavor. But it got me to thinking about what it would take to be a decathlon of trademark protection, to be well-rounded and ensure that a brand, a trademark, has covered all the angles and excels at everything. So I've come up with the 10 events to solid trademark protection. The first is to choose a name creatively. Choose a creative name. We've talked about that a lot. If you start with a boring or common or descriptive name, it's going to be much more challenging. The second is to search before you commit to those names. Search, make sure the name is available. The third, you want to make sure you file early. Once you've chosen a name, searched it, hopefully started working with an attorney, and we're going to get to that in a second, you want to make sure that you've searched it to really make sure that it's available in your field of goods and services. You want to file early. Now that you've committed to the name, you've invested in the search, file early with the Patent and Trademark Office. You can even file with intent to use. The fourth event in the trademark decathlon is to use it properly. While it's pending, use the TM or the SM. Once it's registered, use the R with a circle. The fifth event is to see that application all the way through to achieving registration. Of course, there are a variety of steps, and it takes over a year on average these days. The sixth event is to continuously monitor for possible infringements. And then, of course, you have to make decisions, which brings about the seventh event, to enforce your trademark if necessary by sending cease and desist letters or takedown notices or otherwise engaging with infringements. The eighth event is to make sure that you are maintaining and renewing that registration to make sure it stays valid for as long as possible. The ninth event is to, as a whole, document the key trademark milestones and events throughout this process. So by keeping records of the search, of the filing, of the first use in commerce, etc., you make it much easier to add value to that trademark portfolio, to deal with problems, to transfer it, etc. And the 10th event is to research and review international protections as needed. As your brand grows, as perhaps you move into other markets or your customers come from other markets, you want to make sure that you're thinking about international protections for your brand also. So those are the 10 events in the trademark decathlon. Now, of course, I could do the decathlon. I could maybe jump over a hurdle, probably not jump over the high jump, but most of the other things I could do, right? But without a coach, without training, I wouldn't barely make it to the finish line. And same thing for the trademark decathlon. You want an experienced guide to make the process better, more effective, more efficient. And while it costs some money to have an experienced guide, in the end, it's almost guaranteed to save money by improving the value, improving the protection, and lowering the labor and thought that you have to put into it. So working with someone experienced on all 10 of these is going to increase the odds that your brand will win a gold medal and that it'll be registered and protected and ready for success. You probably know this, but just as a reminder, I've got a wealth of information on my website and on my YouTube channel at erikpelton.com or erikpelton.tv. And you can search for any of these topics or events in the Trademark Decathlon and learn a whole lot more. For example, about international protections, or for example, about how to properly use your trademark or how to renew your trademark, and so on. I hope that you found this video useful and any other topics that you explore. If you have ideas for additional topics that you'd like to see me cover, please drop a note in the comments.